All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. And all we're doing today is reviewing basically everything that we've done. So even though it's called factoring completely, it's exactly what we've done this whole time. All right. So the first thing that we want to do, remember our first step to factoring, is we want to try to pull out a GCF. After that, if it's two terms, you want to see if we can do pair and share. If it's three terms, it's your cheater method. Or slide and divide. Okay, so the first step to factoring is GCF. Your second is to determine how many terms there are. If it's four terms, it's grouping. Okay. So again, always try to pull out a GCF, then check the number of your terms and go from there. So remember, cheater method is when we don't have a number in front, and slide and divide is when we do have a number in front of the x squared or the y squared or whatever variable they use. Okay. Is everybody okay with that? All right, so we're going to go through all of this. We're going to look at number one, and we're going to break it down above it. I always do it above to keep it out of my workspace, just in case there's no GCF. So if we look, 5n squared is 5n and n, and then we have a big fat plus sign. What are your factors of 25n? 5 and 5 and n. And then we have a minus. And what are your factors of 120? What? 10 and 12. 10 is 2 and 5. 12 is 2 and 6. 6 is 2 and 3. What do they all have in common? 5. So that's our GCF. And then inside, we're going to write our leftover down. We had n squared plus 5n minus 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24. All right, this does not mean that we're finished. That just meant that we had a GCF. What we're going to do now is look at this inside part. And I'm going to see if I can use cheater method. I'm going to use cheater method because there's no number in front of that n squared. Just ignore the 5 now. So remember what we did to be lazy, which is perfectly fine. I'm not saying that in a bad way. We can be lazy. And in our calculator, we're going to put in negative 24 divide x, negative 24 divide x plus x. And we're going to see if there's a red 5. You guys remember that? A red 5. So second graph, look at our table. There's a negative 5. Let's see if there's a positive 5. What are our two numbers with the positive 5? So our variable and one of our numbers, so n and negative 3. Our variable and our other number, n and a positive 8. And then you just bring the 5 down. That's as good as it gets. Don't forget to bring that 5 down. All right, so that's what it is. It's making sure that you factor it completely out. So we took the GCF out and then we have to factor more. Okay, that's all it is. So look at your next one. What are your factors of 4k squared? 2, 2k, k, big fat plus. What are your factors of 8? And 4 is 2 and 2, or 3 2s. Remember, 8 is 3 2s. They like to give that one. That's why I keep telling you 3 2s, okay? So use that 8. We have a minus. 140 is 14 and 10. 14 is 2 and 7. 10 is 2 and 5. What do they have in common? How many of them? How much is 2 2s? 4. So your GCF is 4. I'm going to write down what we left over. K times K is K squared. We have a plus 2 times K minus 7 times 5 is 35. What should I do now? We're going to look at our parentheses. Which method do I use? I have 3 terms, but no number in front. Cheater method. So we're just going to put it in our calculator. So I'm going to put my calculator over here so you guys can see it. Our last number is negative 35. We're going to do negative 35 divide x and negative 35 divide x plus x. And I'll just type over it so I don't have to change it. What am I looking for in my table in the red part? What's the only other number in that highlighted portion? 2. That's what I'm looking for. So do I have a red 2 on the screen? What are the blue numbers beside it? So K and a negative 5. K and a positive 7. What do I need to make sure I do? Bring down the 4. That's it. Any questions? All right, so these are pretty easy. I'm going to jump to 5 and 6, and then I'm going to get some other ones in a minute. Okay, 5 and 6. 3 and 4 are going to be the longer ones. I didn't say harder. They're longer. Okay, so let's jump to 5 and 6 real fast. How do I break down 8? 3 2s and 2 n's minus, what are your factors of 50? 5 and 10 is 2 and 5. What do they have in common? So our first step is take out that GCF. And then when I look at this one, what do I notice? Because it's 2 terms, is it pairs and share? Yes, I have pairs and make sure it has a minus, okay? You always want to make sure it has a minus. If it has a plus, we couldn't do it. So I'm going to make my 2 sets of parentheses like yesterday. What goes in the front? 2 and n, good. What goes in the back? A 5. What are my signs? Positive, negative. That's it. Those are the quickest ones. All right, same thing on number 6. How do I break down 8r squared? 3 2s, 2 r's. 18, what are your factors of 18? 9 and 2. 9 is 3 and 3. What do we have in common? If you look, we have pairs separated by a minus. What goes in the front? 2r. What goes in the back? What are our signs? Yeah, that's it. So again, it's nothing that you don't know how to do. All right, are y'all ready? Okay. So on this next one, we have 4 terms, but what's going to happen is we're going to take a GCF out first, and then we're going to have to do grouping, okay? So it's 4 terms, so we're going to do grouping. So let's start with breaking it down. What are your factors of 28? Say it again. 7 and 4. 4 is 2 and 2. We have 3 n's and a minus. What are your factors of 24? 6 and 4. 6 is 2 and 3. 4 is 2 and 2 and 2 n's. We have a plus. Your factors of 28 again were 7 and 4. So 7, 2, 2, and n. And we had our factors of 24 again, which were 6, 2 times 3, and 4. What do they all have in common? 2 2s. And 2 2s is what? 4. Now, what I'm going to do is not write them together. I'm not going to write them together. I'm going to keep them separate. So what did I have left? I had a 7 and 3 n's, a minus, a 3, a 2, n, a plus 7n, and a minus 2, 3. When we have 4 terms, we group them. The reason I didn't put them back together is because I would have to break them back down again. So there's no point, okay? Look at just the first 2. Ignore the 4, ignore the back. What do these 2 have in common? Just these first 2. 2 n's. So we took out n squared. What did that leave us with? 7n minus 3 times 2 is 6. Is there anything in common in the other set of parentheses? Do you remember what we pull out if everything's in common? What's the one we leave when we circle everything? 1. So every time there's nothing there, it's always a 1. And then we didn't pull anything out, so that one's 7 minus 6. Remember, these 2 will be the same if you do it right, and they are. So we rewrite those. We rewrite what we left out, which is n squared plus 1. And then we cannot forget that we pulled out a 4. This is your full factoring. We're going to do it again, so don't stress out if you didn't get it quite that time. All right. I'm going to do number 8 on a separate sheet of paper, just so I can write it down and make it a little bit bigger for you guys. 32a cubed plus 48a squared plus 28a plus 42. Again, this is number 8. What are your factors of 32a cubed? Factors of 32. Use your calculator if you have to. What do I know at least one factor is? Okay, so 32 divided by 2. So 2 and 16, and I know my factors of 16, so I can do this now. What are your factors of 16? 8 and 2, and 8 is 3 2s. So it should be 4 2s and a 3, and 3 a's. Big fat plus separating it. Factors of 48. What do I know I can divide 48 by? Yeah, 6 and 8 is a good factor if you needed to do 2, 2, and 24. We know our factors of 24 because we did those already. So 6 and 8. 6 is 2 and 3. 8 is 3 2s and 2 a's. Big fat plus. What are your factors of 28? What do I know it's divisible by? Somebody said 7 and 4. So 7, 4 is 2 and 2, and there's an A. And then there's 42. Again, it's even, guys. If you need to, do it by 2. 42 divided by 2 is 2 and 21. What are your factors of 21? 7 and 3. Do they have anything in common all the way throughout? Only a 2. So I'm going to pull that out. And then to make it easier on you, I would just go ahead and mark it out. And then group from here. so I don't have to rewrite it. So look at these two that we left out. So don't look at this one, don't look at this one, don't look at this one, and don't look at that one. Between these two, what do we have in common? A 3 and 3 2s. Anything else? 2 A's. All right. So 3 times 2 is 6. Times 2 is 12. Times 2 is 24. And we pulled out a squared as well. What did that leave me with? Read it. What happens when I circle everything? So it left me with a plus, and when I circle everything, it's a 1. Good. I feel like I screwed something up. Did I mess something up? I'll show you why in a minute. You good? What's in common in these two? Just a 7. Well, when I pull out that 7, what does it leave me with? Are those parentheses the same? No. So if those parentheses aren't the same, there is no grouping. So the only thing that we could do is pull out that GCF and write down the leftovers. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24a cubed, plus 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 is 12, times 2 is 24a squared, plus 7 times 2 is 14a, plus 7 times 3 is 21. There is no more factoring in that. I really think I screwed something up on there. I think there's something missing in the 48. We'll let it go for right now. So that, even if I messed up, this is a good thing. If these two don't come out right, you either did something wrong. That's why I feel like I did something wrong, or it's not factorable. Got it? So those are the two reasons. So let's look at number 9. It's the same thing, it's just bigger. So 384xy plus 336 xm cubed minus 144 my minus 126 m to the 4th. All right, so I don't know my factors of 384, and I don't expect you to either, okay? So don't stress out about that. What I would do, I can do a couple different things. I'm going to put it into here, 384, and clear that out. And then when I look at my table, I can find my factors. And I would just find some factors that I'm good with, like 12 and 32 I could do, 8 and 48. I don't like the negatives, so if you don't like the negatives, go the positives. 6 and 64, I can pull those out too. I know what that is. So the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. The factors of 64 are 8 times 8. So 6 2's, an X and a Y, big fat plus. Same thing with 336. I have factors. I can do 6 and 56, 7 and 48, 8 and 42. Any of those I can do, and I'm pretty good with. So let's do 7 and 48. So we have 7. 48 is 6 times 8. We already did that one time today. 6 is 2 and 3. 8 is 2, 2, 2. We have an X and 3 M's. See if any factors of 144. 12 and 12. 12 is 2 and 6, or 2, 2 and 3. 2, 2 and 3. MY. And then I need to make another line because I'm running out of room. I don't know my factors of 126. So I can look. 6 and 21 is a good one. 7 and 18. 9 and 14 is even better. 9 is 3 and 3. 14 is 2 and 7. and 4 m's. When it gets this massive, go through your first term and see if they're in common in the other ones. So start with this 2. Is there a 2 in each term? Yes. So I'll go ahead and circle that. Is there a 3 in each term? Yes. Is there another 2 in each term? No, so I can skip over all the 2's. Is there an X in every one of them? Nope. Is there a Y in every one of them? No. So all I have, 3 times 2 is 6. You can group your first 2 and your last 2. So in the first 2, I'm going to highlight what they have in common. We have 3 2's. What else do we have in common? And an X. 3 2's and an X is 8x. That leaves me with 8y, 2 times 2 times 2 times y. And then 7 and 3 m's. That's your first one. Let's hope the other set of parentheses looks like that. So then in the other one, I have a 3 in common and 1 m. And I have a negative in common. Does everybody see that? So we're going to take out negative 3m. It leaves me with 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 times y, which looks just like this one, so that's good. And the last one, we have a 7 and 3 m's. A 7 and 3 m's. These look exactly alike, so I know that I did it right. I left 8x minus 3m. And what's the one thing I need to remember? What did I do in the very beginning? Move that 6 to the front. That is your final answer. One more of these ridiculous ones, and I'll go back to 3 and 4. And 3 and 4 have slide and divide in them, so they're just a little bit longer. All right, let me write it down. 48xy, this one's not as bad. Plus 72x. Plus 80y squared. Again, this one's not as bad. That number 9 was the worst one. 80y squared plus 120y. $48 is 6 times 8. 6 is 3 and 2. 8 is 3 2's. X and a Y. Big fat plus. 72 is 9 times 8. 9 is 3 and 3. 8 is 2, 2 and 2, and it has an X. What are your factors of 80? 8 and 10. 8 is 3 2's. 10 is 2 and 5, and we have 2 Y's. And your factors of 120 are 12 and 10. 12 is 2, 2, 3. 10 is 2 and 5, and a Y. Again, when it gets really big, just look at your first term. Do we have a 3 in all of them? No. Do we have a 2 in all of them? And I always just circle the first one in each one. Do I have another 2 in all of them? Yes. Do I have another 2 in all of them? Do I have another 2 in all of them? No. Do I have an X in all of them? Nope. Do I have a Y in all of them? No. So what am I pulling out? 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. All right, look at what I have left over. I'm going to group the first 2 and the last 2. And again, these 2's don't matter anymore. Look at these first two. What do they have in common? 3 and an x. So I'm going to pull out that 3x. I'm going to do it down here. And what did that leave me with? What did I not highlight? Just read it straight across. Perfect. In the other set, what do I have in common? So I'm going to pull out a 5y. What did that leave me with? Look, there's squished up 3 right here, just to let y'all know. 2y plus 3. Do they match? Yes, so I know that's my first factor. What did I leave out? Read it. And then what did I take out in the very beginning? That's your final right there. Okay, so it just gets bigger. That's all. All right, we're going to go back to 3 and 4, and then we'll be done. All right. I'm going to start with number 4. The numbers are a little bit smaller, so we're going to go with that. Break it down to begin with. 8 is 2, 2, 2 in m. We have a plus. 66 is 6 and 11. 6 is 2 and 3, and 11 and an n. And 16 is 2 and 8. So 4 2s. What do they all have in common? That leaves me with 4n squared plus 33n plus 8. So above, on the one right above it, number 2, we didn't have a number in front of k squared, so we did slide and divide. Now we have to do, we did cheater method. Now we have to do slide and divide. So we're going to slide this over. We get n squared plus 33n. And remember, we're multiplying, so 4 times 8 is 32. What are your factors of 32? These are not hard ones that add to 33. What's your easiest factors of 32? 32 and 1. Remember, you can use your calculator if you need to. Remember, you can always use it. So 32 and 1. We did slide. Now we have to divide. (32) divided by 4 is 8. Can I fix this one for? How do I make it not a fraction? What do I do? Remember, I told you Ms. Burkhart called it sign divide and bottoms up. Put the 4 in front. Perfect. So it'll be 4n plus 1. And then, sorry, y'all. Remember that I pulled out that GCF in the beginning, so it needs to come down. That's what most people forget, is the GCF in the beginning. One more. What are your factors of 40? 4 and 10. So 4 is 2 and 2, 10 is 2 and 5, and 2 x's. I don't know my factors of 284, so I'm going to cheat and put it in my calculator. I have 4 and 71, and I'm pretty sure 71 is prime. You guys see how there's nothing else? I did put the right number in there, right? Yep. So 4 and 71. 4 is 2 and 2, 71 and x. And then we have 28, and 28 is 7 and 4. What do they have all in common? 2 2s, which is 4. Leaves me with 2 times 5 is 10 and 2 x's. minus 71 in an x plus 7. I need to see if I can factor more, so I have a number in front. I'm going to do slide and divide. So slide the 10 over. I get x squared minus 71x plus 70. Make it easy on yourself. What are your factors of 70 that add to 71? 71, or sorry, 70 plus 1. But since it's a negative 71, what do we have to do? Nope. What do the factors have to be if it's a negative 71 in the middle? So our two factors are negative 70 and negative 1. I did slide. So now I divide. What is 70 over 10? $70 divided by 10? 7. What do I do to this one? Put the 10 in the front. And then don't forget to bring down your 4. All right. I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording.